Good morning and welcome to Purpose Driven Finances, where our focus is helping you use your finances to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And now here's the host of Purpose Driven Finances, Allan Malina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. This is Allan Malina, your host, Purpose Driven Finances, president of Serwus Capital Management, helping you achieve the purpose and plan for your life through financial planning, portfolio management. Looking forward to a great 2026. Sitting here with my favorite co-host, my friend, Rich Roth. How you doing, man?
Morning, Alan.
How's 26 going for you?
Ask me next week.
Exactly. You asked me a question before air, and I was like, doggone it, I didn't get that answered for you. So it's been a crazy 2026 so far.
It has.
And but I'm just thankful that we're not pushing up daisies, and nothing major significant going on. But excited. And so, Rich, what we're doing is, I'm not the typical, let's talk about stocks and bonds and, maturity, rates and not rates, but the length of maturities and all kinds of stuff of weeds, really trying to help people achieve the purpose and plan for their life and delving into all kinds of things financial.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I thought we would do is start a series that where we really discuss over the next month or so significant decisions that we're going to be making for 2026. I was I'm hoping to get some travel agents on here. I'm hoping to get a diamond dealer. Now that's going to be on the phone. I hope I can orchestrate that. But he's a diamond dealer.
All right.
He sells diamonds all over the world.
Okay.
And what's interesting is I want to hear from him, the differences in diamonds, and he's actually helping my son get his engagement ring.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't just help. I mean, it's rare. You have to have a connection to help.
I'm laughing because he wouldn't want my advice on marriage today. There are always ups and downs.
There are ups and downs.
And there are plenty of days where we all sit there and go, why did we do that?
Exactly. And so many jokes came to mind that I'm just going to be quiet.
It's probably for the best.
It probably is.
I know your wife listens, so
yeah.
You have to be really careful.
But maybe I'll share it off air, but and you'll be like, Alan, I can't believe you thought that. Now, I had a client, Rich, faithful listener.
Hi, Pam, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, honey. Hey, honey. But she made me, I can't remember the name of it. It's really cool. And she made me a gift, and she listens, but she always comments how she likes our humor. Mm. So that's good. There's at least one of them.
Yeah, that's right.
At least one of them. But, Rich, what I thought we would do is let's talk about portfolios like we normally do in the first half.
Okay.
Second half, we're going to talk about financial planning. But really in the financial planning around that, let's talk about some things you need to ask yourself when you're trying to make a big decision. And, what I mean by a big decision is going on a big trip, a 20th anniversary trip, paying for your kids' education minus your retirement, how big of an engagement ring, things such as that. And then we're going to, the last week, we're going to talk about retirement planning because that's always a big plan and to figure out what's going on and bring it home personal. Now, Rich, remember I shared with you our friend that will go unnamed. He faithful listener to the radio show. He likes you. He likes me. And we bet $1 about gas. Well, he sent me a little video of 187 somewhere.
Ooh.
In America.
Really?
I figure it was like Louisiana or something like that. But I'm expecting the gas around here probably to hit 225, probably in the next couple weeks.
We're getting closer.
It might even go lower. And because, frankly, the biggest issue is inflation is coming down. Inflation, they just came out at 2.74. In December, we're expecting 2.56. In January, 2.36. Now, who would have thought a year ago?
Can I stop you?
I prefer it.
December 26 or December 25?
25. 2.56.
Is what we expected.
Well, they haven't. I don't believe they've actually put it out yet. I think it's going to be a couple more weeks. But
Okay, so we don't have the December numbers.
Right.
So current 2.74 is before December.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the November
right.
number that was
All
put
right.
out in December.
All right, because gotcha.
So the December number that will be put out in, I would say, probably next week or the week
that's
after.
true. It's still early January.
And then January's number going out in February in the 230s. Now, 6-8 months ago, no one would have thought that. They would have said inflation 4.5%. So it's a good time. And so what's happening is you have some food going down. I've heard in preparation for this, I didn't have time to delve into the weeds of CPI, but I know over the past 3 months, some housing has gone down. But the biggest influence is energy costs have dramatically dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be a huge benefit to individuals and, to Trump's reelection, frankly, or not reelection, the midterms. Because if inflation continues to go down and stays down, then people will have more money. It's just a good thing. Then the second thing I want to bring up is GDP. It's going up. It'll probably be mid-threes, 3.5, 3.4, 3.3, somewhere in that range, which is a good thing. And partly it's because of taxes policy, but also lower fraud. It's very interesting of some of the things that is occurring.
I was going to say lower fraud when we're hearing about what's going on in Minnesota and now
Right.
a number of other potentially states as well. And
Right.
we're discovering all this fraud,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess
Right.
if we can nip it in the bud, that'd be a huge help.
It will be. And I didn't realize it. Did you know that you could put $1 million in your carry-on luggage?
I heard that the other day.
That's pretty cool. You just have to declare it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And then even if they flag it, the Biden administration will ignore it.
Exactly. And the millions and millions of dollars that flew out of the Minneapolis.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
But one thing that I thought was so interesting, and I'll take my glasses off so I could actually read it, is the imports are down dramatically. I was astounded at this. The U.S. trade deficit is the lowest in 16 years at negative $29 billion per month. In March of 25, it was at negative $130 billion. And I like to have charts. So on the back side, I gave you the chart of the goods and trade deficit. That's a dramatic chart. And what I'll do is when we post the podcast, I'll include the chart so people could check it out.
Good idea.
But that is a dramatic turn of events. And here's what's interesting is if you look at the people who are, I'm not a Trumper. I like his policies better than I did Biden. Not all of them, but I like his policies better. If you had have listened to the pundits 6, 8, 12 months ago, they would have expected higher inflation, lower growth, and all kinds of issues. But that's not what is happening. And so what needs to happen is you need to take your investment portfolio and manage it accordingly. If inflation is down, GDP is up, that's a quad 1, quad 2 situation. Really, quad 2 is inflation up, but it's quad 1. And, I don't want to help out my fellow financial advisors in the area, but I will today. What a great guy I am,
It's nice of you.
Just so sweet. Check out IWC. And you're like, what is IWC? IWM is small caps. IWC is micro caps. So those companies that for a long time have not done very well, they're going to start doing well. So IWM and IWC. So check that out. And in your 401k, if you have questions about your 401k, give me a call at 434-316-0246. I want to help you manage it because a lot of times in your 401k at Centra, at Liberty, at BWX, you probably don't get the help you deserve. Call me and let's review it. Then finally, Rich, we got about 3 minutes. Let's talk about metals. It's interesting that I went down the rabbit hole a little bit about metals, because you've probably heard about silver and gold
Of course.
and those things. Not only the glorious things you bought your wife, but also just in the social media, but also in the media, that gold is ripping. Now, last week, the week before, you mentioned, hey, Allan, isn't it normally during a bad economic time? You mentioned that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is partly true. There are some negatives that we're going to discuss. But
Because it's kind of a flight to safety. When people are
yeah.
scared, they're like, man, gold.
It is. Mm-hmm. A lot of husbands, when they screw up, they run the gold.
No, that's diamonds, my friend.
Diamonds, is it? But that being said,
Just ask Kobe.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So in the AI space, you know what a hyperscaler is. Google,
Yeah.
Meta, the big AI. I did not realize this. Did you know that an AI data center, a hyperscaler data center, they will use 50,000 tons of copper?
It's a lot of copper.
That's a lot of copper. When the average traditional conventional data center will use about 10,000 tons. Now they say TONNES. I'm not a metal guy, so I don't know if TONNES is different than TONS. Someone will let me know, but all I know is that's a boatload of copper. Other people may have different things. It's a big pile. It's just a boatload. I mean, it's a lot. But the other thing that's happening is metals are underowned, because if you look back at the Z-score and various other things, it's interesting. Metal is underowned by not only individuals but also institutions. Did you know, as of right now, the ownings, is that really the correct term? I don't know. But the assets that China has, they've been selling our treasury bonds and buying gold. What they have publicly announced, that they have changed their assets that China as a whole, the government owns, is over 8% in gold.
Wow.
And so countries are starting to move. Now you say, why is that? Here's the negatives that you brought up. Or you didn't bring up, but you mentioned. Global debt is an all-time high, $348 trillion of global debt. That's every person, every country, every company. That's a lot of debt. The global money supply is up. The last time we had a big sharp move, aren't you glad I didn't include that chart?
Yes.
But it was back, I think, in 22, if my memory serves me correctly, a big jump in the money supply. Gold is jumping up. But also, the Trump administration in November, I believe it was November, came out with a U.S. National Supply Strategy of 2025. They said that metals are a strategic resource, and they're going to protect two things in the hemisphere: the resources and those who supply it. And if you look at it, they also include partners in the region. Just Google it. U.S. National Security Strategy. And I didn't, everybody's talking about Venezuela has the largest oil in the world, 303 billion barrels. It's a heavy crude, but there's issues because it's a socialist country, and they totally screwed up in managing it. But they also have over 7,000 tons of gold. And so not only with our new partnership are we going to have advantage of gold, but also other minerals. And so it's going to be exciting. So, folks, metals aren't going to go away. They're going to continue. Give me a call at 434-316-0246. Website is servuscm.com. We're going to take a 30-minute break or so. Not a 30-minute, 30-second break. And get you a refill of coffee, and let's talk about purpose and planning, why big moments deserve better planning.
Words of wisdom from the woodsman. Life rule number 9. Look for the grift. Our sin nature inherently drives each of us to self-worship and self-preservation. Quoting Proverbs 26:24, the evil-minded will disguise themselves with their lips, but in their hearts they harbor deceit. I'm Tommy the Woodsman. Selflessness, integrity, and authenticity are my priorities. If you want a tree service provider who is going to give you an honest assessment and not try to pull one over on you, then submit a request for an estimate at IHaveASawForThat.com.
And now, back to Purpose-Driven Finances. Here's Allan Malina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, folks, this is Allan Malina again, your host, Purpose-Driven Finances. Thank you for sticking around. And for the second half of the show, talking about purpose and planning, why big moments deserve better planning. As you heard in the break, my friend Tommy Parmitter. Now, Rich, let's do a shameless plug of your radio show. It is No Holds Barred every Wednesday. What, at 5?
5.
And you just did. Ben Crosswhite was on there, and Tommy was on there. I tell you one thing about Tommy. He is an authentic guy. He's authentic.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
And just a great guy. And so if you need some tree work, Rich, he cut down a 200-year-old tree at my house, and he couldn't saw it up for me. It's too big. So we're looking forward to getting that taken care of. But folks, the reason we're doing this in January is you're making a lot of plans for what you're going to do this year. You know, I was talking to hopefully a travel agent that's going to be on. She was saying that the first 3 or 4 weeks of January is her busiest time. And a lot of people are planning. I was talking to the lady doing my hair, and she is, instead of going to Destin, she's contemplating going to Aruba. And she said that Aruba is cheaper to get 2 condos or 2 apartments or whatever it's called that she was looking at than it is for one at Destin. And for all the other costs. Really? It is, yeah. So I thought that was pretty impressive. So what I thought we would do is have her, not my hairdresser, talking about, but
right.
The travel agent.
Right.
I know everybody needs a haircut, but I don't think it's very radio riveting. I don't think so. I mean,
you have a nice one.
Hey, it's just an amazing thing. Just an amazing thing. I just got a head of hair, man. I cannot take any responsibility for it. It's like my height. I can't add to it or take away from it. That being said, January through February is when people make a lot of fast decisions with big consequences. A lot of times you look at how much you're going to put away for retirement. A lot of times you look at, am I going to help my kids? How much I'm going to help my kids? And a couple of things is most financial mistakes don't come from bad markets. They come from rushed life decisions. Rich, I've shared with you, and you kind of rolled your eyes at me. And how I said
Which time?
Yeah, exactly. Which time? We had 2 kids in diapers. And on that, I think it was that Thursday morning, I went to Pam and I said, hey, let's go for a week away to Myrtle Beach. And we made no plans and I had no hotel.
Yeah.
Yep. That was not very wise of me. Not very smart. But thankfully she stayed with me and the kids grew up and enjoyed it. And so this series is about planning the moments that actually shape your financial outcomes. Three big thoughts I have. And then we're going to get into some questions. Big decisions create long shadows. What I mean by that is, this week, Rich, do you have a favorite fast food restaurant in the morning?
Allan, thankfully, I'm not doing much fast food.
Good job, man.
But when traveling, sometimes, it's kind of necessary. It's the go-to's almost always Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Yeah, I can't stand their breakfast.
Yeah, we don't really go there for breakfast much.
Right. Yeah. My favorite breakfast sandwich is Hardee's.
Yeah.
You can't beat that biscuit. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Now, Hardee's, if you want to start, we can give you a 30-second spot. But that being said, I really like the Hardee's. And so this week, I made the decision, instead of having my normal boring 2 sausage patties with cheese and some fruit as my second breakfast, I went and got 2 biscuits. I just decided to splurge. But you know what's amazing, Rich? That decision to get those 2 biscuits does not create anything significant in my finances.
Not much of a shadow.
Not much of a shadow. But going to Aruba, going to Ireland, going to Italy, a wedding, choosing to go into retirement, buying a new car, those create long shadows. And so that's what we're trying to look at. Also, emotional moments compress timelines and expand spending. I have seen that people get very emotional about certain issues, and it causes them to not be very wise in what they do. I've seen a lot of guys. They're like, my woman wants to get married and spend $40,000. And he's like, you okay with that? But they don't often think about the financial repercussions down the road. Your kids aren't married yet, are they? To your knowledge.
Better not be.
Right, exactly. That being said, I have been to some weddings. Oh, my word, man.
Oh, the amount of money that people
Yes.
spend on them, it's incredible.
Yes. I've been to probably a $300,000 wedding at the Homestead.
Wow.
I've also been to about a $40,000 wedding at the Homestead. And, if I had a daughter, I would hopefully impress to them, hey, yes, you want this glorious wedding, but think about, instead of spending the $30,000 on your wedding, can we spend 10? I'll give you the 20 for a down payment on your house, because that'll make a lasting impact.
Way more sense, yeah.
It does. It does. And long are the days gone by of getting married in a church that's boring. I mean, from everything I'm seeing from the college kids that you got to be scraping the bucket in order to do that. But it works. Go to a state park, bro. That being said, finally, markets amplify the stress, but they rarely create it. What that usually means is you're already stressed about what's happening with your portfolio or the amount of money you have or don't have. And when the market goes awry, it causes greater stress. So, Rich, I don't know how we're going to do this because, I don't really think these things through. But
that's just what someone wants to hear from a planner.
Exactly. Well, what I mean by that is the next segment.
Yes, I know. I'm just kidding.
I appreciate it. You're exactly right. So the next segment is, why can we afford it, is the wrong question. Because a lot of times, and Pam, I'm going to throw you under the bus. Pam is like, Allan, that's fine if we can afford it.
We can afford it, yeah.
That's the reason that's the wrong question is, I can afford to go get a Lamborghini right now if I wanted to.
Wow.
You could probably afford to do it. But I'm not talking about paying cash. I'm talking about a monthly payment. Maybe not a new one for $800,000, but $100,000 Lamborghini, you can get them for $100,000. And your payment will probably be $3,000 or $4,000. Well, what would end up happening is if I were to make that decision, it would dramatically affect my household spending and the ability to save for retirement. And so in that situation, even if it's not a Lamborghini, it's a $1,500 truck payment. Can you afford that $1,500 truck payment? Well, I'm still eating.
Well, and we see that all the time with houses. Right? People are like, oh, I'm approved for
exactly
a $500,000 home. That means I should buy one.
Exactly.
And that's not what that means at all.
It doesn't. That's wise advice. Because often what we do is we say the max of what we can do, but it's not what we should do.
Right, because then you're stressed out because something goes wrong or something else pops up or your AC unit goes out or you have to replace your HVAC or your car's transmission bites the dust
right.
And you're like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. Now I've got this additional payment as well.
Exactly. So here's some, replace, can we afford it with these, one of these 4 things? What does this change about our flexibility? Now, when I put that on paper, I was like, I need to put that into everyday language. How does this change? What does this change about my ability to adapt to life's negative events? Now, folks, you fill it in. When crap hits the fan, okay, how does it change your ability to be flexible with your monthly income? Number two, what future options does this remove? What I mean by that is if you decide to spend $40,000 or $50,000 or $30,000 or $20,000, some of you are listening to me and like, Allan, you are freaking nuts. $30,000, I couldn't afford a $5,000. Folks, everybody has a different thing. The Lamborghini was more hypothetical, not reality. Everybody has what they consider expensive. Rich, I have $1 million clients that have, a lot of money, but they don't consider they have a lot of money. They consider if they have $2 million, they consider someone who has $5 million a lot of money.
Right.
And so this is very relative. But if you do what you want to do, what future options does this remove? Like your flexibility. If you decide to get a $1,500 car payment a month, just like you said, Rich, are you going to have the flexibility to deal with life? Number three, what risk are you accepting knowingly or not knowing? Just like you said, if you get that $1,500 car payment, or if you drain your cash to do something, are you going to have the flexibility in order to do it? And then finally, the last question you should do is, how long does that decision follow you? I don't know if I told you, Rich, but I wanted to go to the Amalfi Coast in Italy. Have you ever seen those pictures? Beautiful. I even talked to this lady. She had been to the Amalfi Coast like 18 times. She's retired now. She's an executive in Silicon Valley. And she was like, depends on your budget, but you should probably plan on $18,000 to $20,000. That's a big trip.
That is a big trip.
And so what I did is, if you decide, well, not you or me, but just you in general, if you decide to go to the Amalfi Coast for $20,000, I ran the numbers. Did you know in 12 years at 8% return, that $20,000 turns to $50,300? Will that affect your retirement? And so the question is, not can you afford it, but can you afford it in 12 years? And so what will that, how long does that decision follow you? Now, here are 4 questions. We got 2 minutes left. 4 questions to ask when you're making a decision. And of course, it goes along with purpose-driven finances. Just that's amazing how that works.
Go figure.
So, Rich, the first question is, why are we doing this? Now, if you're the guy who really screwed up, you yelled at your wife and kicked the dog, you probably need to buy some gold or diamonds.
Maybe.
Or, there's a guy in town called Tim Clinton. Maybe give him a call. Give him a call. But the thing is to sit down and ask, why are we doing this? Is it because my friends and family think it's cool, or does it really impact what you and your significant other want to do? Number 2, how does it change my monthly life from a cash flow perspective? If it makes it to where your budget is dramatically reduced and it's tight and it's squeezed, analyze it. Check it out. Maybe, instead of being all-inclusive for 2 weeks, go all-inclusive for 1 week. Flexibility. How can we adjust if life changes? Rich, I don't like it when life happens and the crap hits the fan, but it does. It always does. Everything is going smooth. Somebody gets sick. Somebody falls down. Somebody hits a deer. Can you adjust if life changes? And then finally, what happens if the timing goes wrong? Talking about risk exposure. We're not talking about owning 50% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. Don't do that. But what happens? So, folks, I want to help you achieve the purpose and plan for your life. Let's talk these things through. Let's get on the same page and get you where you want to go and help you achieve the purpose and plan for your life. Give me a call at 434-316-0246 or my website, servuscm.com, and check out the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Have a great weekend.
Returns for illustrative purpose. This is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or use a platform. Only will a suggestion occur after a meeting to determine goals, risk tolerance, and time horizons. Investments involve risks and no guarantee of future results.